Top 10 Mysterious Monsters Around the World. From the far-off snowy mountains of Tibet to the grey and gloomy lochs of Scotland, many different cultures from around the world have reported seeing strange creatures that science just can't explain. Although evidence is typically scarce and mostly based on hearsay, many hold on to the hope that some of the following mysterious creatures really do exist. Number 10. The Ropen stories arose from the island of a featherless, giant flying creature with a long tail that ends in a flange and a diamond-shaped head, known to the locals as Indava. The Ropen is believed to be a nocturnal pterosaur, very similar to a pterodactyl, that glows against the night sky when it flies. According to recent investigators, over 90% of the sightings on Island are of this featureless bright white light. Jonathan Wickham went on to write the book Searching for Ropens, which suggests that most sightings were of one giant creature, which sleeps in the island interior during the day, and at night it feeds by the reef. Number 9. The Bunyip. The Bunyip, or Kienprati, is a large mythical creature from Aboriginal mythology which is said to lurk in swamps, billabongs, creeks, riverbeds and waterholes. The word Bunyip is usually translated by Aboriginal Australians today as devil or evil spirit. Aboriginal stories tell of a creature about 11 paces long and 4 paces in breadth. Most people who witnessed the monster claim to have been in such dread that they were unable to take note of its characteristics, but those that did told of a dog-like face, a crocodile-like head, dark fur, a horse-like tail, flip ears and walrus-like tusks or horns. Such a creature has never been recorded by European colonists, but there has been multiple sightings of mysterious evidence to support such claims. Number 8. The Dover Demon. 17-year-old William Bartlett claimed that while driving on April 21, 1977, he saw a large-eyed creature with tendril-like fingers and glowing eyes on top of a broken stone wall on Farm Street in Dover, Massachusetts. This was the start of the Dover Demon. Though it was only sighted by a few people in a short period of time, it is considered one of the most mysterious creatures of modern times. The second sighting came just 2 hours after the first, when John Baxter swore that he saw the same creature while walking home from his girlfriend's house. The 15-year-old boy saw it with its arms wrapped around the trunk of a tree, and his description of the thing matched Bartlett's exactly. The final sighting was reported the next day by 15-year-old Abby Brabham, who said it appeared briefly in the car's headlights while she and her friend were driving. Number 7. Mongolian death worm. In August 2009, 2 New Zealanders carrying a video camera and a sack of explosives set off to a remote southern corner of Mongolia's Gobi Desert in search of a creature that few believe exists. The Mongolian death worm is known locally as the Elchubacabra, or the intestine worm, because it is believed to resemble the internal tract of a cow. The Kiwi duo intend to lure the monster to the surface with tremors set off by detonating their explosives. Once emerged, they plan to capture it on film. The Mongolians also believe that touching any part of the worm will cause instant death or tremendous pain. It has been told that the worm frequently preyed on camels and laid eggs in its intestines, eventually acquiring the trait of its red-like skin. They say that the worm lives underground, hibernating most of the year except for when it becomes active in June and July. Number 6. The spring-heeled jack. During the 19th century, inhabitants of London became victim to this curious beast. In October 1837, the first sighting of the spring-heeled jack was reported. appearing out of the shadows of night and attacking his victims with dreadful scratches before bounding away with superhuman ability. The first sighting was reported by Mary Stevens when she was walking to work after visiting her parents. A strange figure leapt at her from a dark alley. After immobilizing her with a tight grip of his arms, he began to kiss her face while ripping her clothes and touching her flesh with his claws, which were, according to her deposition, cold and clammy as those of a corpse. In panic, the girl screamed, making the attacker quickly flee from the scene. The commotion brought several residents who immediately launched a search for the aggressor, who could not be found. Number 5. Giant Anaconda. The vast teeming Amazon rainforest can kill you in all sorts of ways, from encounters with ravenous piranhas to suspicious native tribes. But the most lethal terror reported to be lurking in these parts is the giant anaconda, a lightning-quick snake more than 30 feet, 9 meters long, which is capable of capsizing and crushing wooden boats floating down the Amazon. Reports of giant anacondas date back as far as the European colonization of South America, when sightings of snakes upwards of 50 meters (164 feet) began to circulate amongst colonists. Number 4. Elchubacabra. This impish monster, whose name means goat-sucker in Spanish, allegedly looks like a giant rodent with palsy. A kind of half-reptile, half-kangaroo mutant. It first drew the world's attention in 1995 when residents of the Puerto Rican town of Canovanas claimed that chupacabras were behind a spate of attacks that killed more than 150 of their livestock, each drained of its blood. The most common description of the chupacabra is that of a reptile-like creature said to have leathery or scaly greenish-gray skin and sharp spines or quills running down its back. It is said to be approximately 3 to 4 feet (1 to 1.2 meters) high, and stands and hops in a fashion similar to that of a cat. Number 3. The Yeti. This beast is said to be found deep in the Himalayan regions of Nepal and Tibet. The Yeti, or abominable snowman, was first reported in 1832 by James Prinsep, one of colonial India's most venerable scholars. He kept an account of his trip through Nepal, where he reportedly saw a tall, hairy, bipedal creature that fled upon being detected. A photographer and member of the Royal Geographical Society, N.A. Tombazi, wrote that he saw a creature at about 15,000 feet, for about a minute, unquestionably. The figure in outline was exactly like a human being, walking upright and stopping occasionally to pull at some dwarf rhododendron bushes. It showed up dark against the snow, and as far as I could make out, wore no clothes. 2 hours later, Tombazi and his companions descended and reported seeing the creature's large footprints in the snow. Kangaroo. Number 2. Bigfoot. Bigfoot, also known as Sasquatch, is the name given to a cryptid ape or hominid-like creature that is said to inhabit forests in the Pacific Northwest region of North America. Indigenous folklore of the Pacific Northwest told of cannibalistic hairy men and giants who roamed the great forests and mountains of the region, abducting children in the dead of night and sabotaging the salmon-catching nets of local fishermen. The first still picture was captured using an automatically triggered camera attached to a tree. Many tried to pass the images off as a bear with a severe case of mange. In 2008, 2 men claimed they had uncovered the body of a Sasquatch. Most of major U.S. news networks sought images of the beast's corpse, only to find that its head was hollow and its feet were made of rubber. Number 1. The Loch Ness Monster. Reports of a large, long-necked serpent loping around the waterways of the Scottish Highlands date back as far as the 7th century. But modern interest in the monster was sparked by a sighting on the 22nd of July 1933. George Spicer and his wife claimed to have saw a most extraordinary form of animal cross the road in front of their car. They described the creature as having a large body about 1.2 meters high and 7.6 meters long. It also had a long narrow neck slightly thicker than an elephant's trunk and as long as the 3 to 4 meters width of the road. In the past century, dozens of scientists have conducted sonar scans and plunged inside submersibles into the lake's depths, sometimes picking up tantalizing, albeit inconclusive, readings of some mysterious, unusually sized object.